All right, back here at FoxBusiness.com live. Oh, the desk almost fell over. These things happen in television. Peter Clarke joins us, CEO of Product Ventures. You said we were rolling, right?
Tony, it's a wacky, fun show.
He works with a number of big companies. Kraft, for example, which is introduced today with the offer that they've made for Cadbury on how to make their packaging a little more eco-friendly, more green, and consumer-friendly also, right, Peter?
Yes.
Thanks for coming in, by the way. You brought a few things with you.
Brought just a couple of things.
We clean the desk up if we did.
I mean, I use the vanilla creamer. It's empty, I noticed, unfortunately.
You have some ketchup if you want.
As is the coffee.
Oh, I could use some coffee every morning. So tell us where your company comes in when we look at these types of products.
Sure. We're actually brought in as kind of the architects behind a lot of brands and how they shape their packaging for success. A lot of these brands or the products they offer are intangible, and the package actually, in a way, becomes the ambassador of the brand. And we're the architects who are specifying, in some cases, the materials, certainly the shape, whether something's ergonomic in the shower, whether it dispenses the right amount, and also if it stands out on shelf from the competition as far as promoting the brand.
So there's clearly there's a science behind whether the bottle should be round or straight, and in these changing times, people are very worried. I fall in love with a product, it might go away. So there's this question of brand loyalty these days. You know, Kraft, who knows what's going to happen if products might disappear, things that I love might go away. So how then does your job become that much more important?
Right. Actually, there's a trend right now called the uncertainty principle, and it's derived from today's current times. Madoff scandal, people, kind of tricking people and not being very, very honest. The brands themselves are under attack, especially with store brands becoming more sophisticated. So what we're doing to work with our brands is to make sure that we help to produce the product or the package, the product that the product's contained within, in the best possible way to represent that brand. That it speaks to the consumer's sensibilities. The environment might be one of those sensibilities, especially during today's times. Walmart, about 3 years ago, kicked off this huge initiative about requesting that all their suppliers, all the people that sell products within their stores, become compliant with the environment. And this is a major shift, and consumers actually are very sensitive to it as well.
So the company had to come to you, and you had to step in and say, hey, here's how you do it, here's how you change things, and you want to do it for them as cost-effective as possible, right?
Yes. For us, it's always a challenge between making it something that consumer desires and can afford, and what the company can produce for a profit. Right. And that's very difficult. These things that are sold in the hundreds of millions a year. The size, the high volume, the stakes are quite high for these companies.
By the way, on the eco-friendly side of things, you're mentioning how the consumers want it also. Have you noticed that change over the last few years? People actually care about this stuff now?
We are seeing a change. The unfortunate thing is there's a little bit of greenwashing that's going on. And,
what does that mean?
It's when you have kind of a rush to stake a claim for something. Companies are kind of scrambling to catch up and be environmentally aware and be environmentally responsible. And unfortunately, here and there's some misleading claims that are coming about that are called greenwashing, where somebody's saying that I've changed to a certain material, thus it's better for the environment. It may actually not be better for the environment if you did a deep analysis on that. So when we come in, we're specifying in some cases what materials are used, what process is used to make these different vessels, to make sure that the right package is produced for the right use.
Do I care, though, at the end of the day, or is it bottom line? If this product, the generic ugly one is cheaper than the pretty one that you designed.
Why does it matter, right?
Why does it matter? Net, it's cheaper, and I got what I want.
Great question. Probably one of the best examples is what happened with Tropicana recently. Tropicana changed their branding. They went to kind of a generic look. You would think in today's times, just straightforward messaging, orange juice would sell quite well. The consumers were so loyal to that brand icon of the orange with the straw in it that there was a backlash. Where's my Tropicana? So you do need to get it right, and there is a lot of emotional trust that's built into brands through advertising over time that the packaging needs to uphold and be that ambassador as it leaves the store into the cupboards, into people's lives. So we do have to get it right, because you're correct. Why do I care? I can get something cheaper. Well, if the package is designed to be used in just the way the consumers want, it can make a really compelling point of difference.
Well, I'll be the first girl to tell you that I buy the upside-down ketchup.
We do in our house too.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Very, very good move, right? Because it comes out. Is that what you mean? Comes out right away, right?
Although I will
and the
say
kids
that,
don't sit there going like this,
FYI out there, if you drop that on the floor, it breaks.
It does. that's a little personal experience too in the
once or twice
in the Tracy Burns household.
Yeah, so I'm shooting maybe for Teflon ketchup.
Well, in our
think about your redesign next time around.
Definitely. Definitely a springback ketchup. You can catch it on its way back up.
That's great. Okay. Pete, how many people do you have working? Is it 35? Did I read that right?
Yes, we're a boutique company. We're in Connecticut. I started the company 15 years ago, and luckily we work for the biggest and best-known brands in the world: Procter & Gamble, Nestle,
you're hooked in with all the big boys. Right. The reason I ask is because we have a lot of small business questions that come up, and we've had a lot of small business owners on of late. I mean, how have you noticed the environment changing? I mean, do you need to access the credit markets, for example? How's the economic downturn affected you? I mean, you're in the sweet spot of this small business debate about healthcare and everything else. How are things?
Well, for us as an agency, as a consultancy, what we saw is that we're being put out to bid more than in the past, meaning that maybe it was a few people that our clients would turn to get it done. Now they're adding 5 more to the mix that they want you to bid against. Okay. So that's kind of the pressures that we're seeing. Luckily, when I built the company, I invested smartly, and I kept reinvesting in the company. So even though this economic downturn happened, I never really needed to tap into any credit.
You're lucky.
We stayed cash solvent, which is wonderful.
Well, yeah.
But are you seeing people cut back on this? Because this is ostensibly part of the marketing budget. And marketing is generally the first thing to go when times are tough.
Great question, and absolutely. There's definitely more discretionary spending. They're deciding what do they truly need. I've heard scenarios where people are actually watering down their shampoo, or buying one shampoo for the entire family as opposed to his shampoo, her shampoo, the kids' shampoo. So that is definitely happening. So you got to get it right, and we're there working alongside our clients to look for these new widgets that really fit better into consumers' lives. So we do extensive research to get it right. We bring our clients and consumers right in the heart of our inventors studio, where we are able to invent all sorts of solutions to the problem with all this rapid prototyping we have, so we can actually embody the solution right on the spot to get there faster and cheaper for our clients.
So how do you view the question of growth? And you're, as you say, relatively small, essentially consulting firm that's already hooked into a lot of the big guys in your industry. So do you say, all right, I just want to worry about products now as opposed to expanding my client list?
Well, definitely diversification is really important to us. It kind of breeds versatility in our thinking. The more exposure we have to a variety of categories, the better it is for us as creative problem solvers. So we definitely want to diversify our client base. We're also trying to go deeper with any one client we have, where we have relevance to the services we provide, such as we do a very effective consumer research to help us, to direct us as to exactly what should be shaped, what should be designed. We're now being leveraged with that same research capability to look at open innovation and say, what new categories maybe should you go into where you can design new types of products.
Right.
So that is an expansion of both our services as well as our diversification of our client base.
We're going to run here, Peter, but the final thing on the small business angle that I didn't ask you about is healthcare, because we're going to have the big debate even this week. The president's making the speech. 35 employees. Do you provide healthcare for those employees?
Yes,
now?
I do.
So you do. What's going to happen, do you think, if this plan goes forward? To you?
Well, it is a struggle. Healthcare is probably one of the largest ticket items on next to payroll. So otherwise, without it, you might be seeing a continued erosion to the employer's contribution to that health care, which puts even more of a burden on the employee. So it is a tricky thing that keeps escalating and escalating, so something needs to be done about it.
But would you foresee a situation where your employee, these 35 people who work for you would eventually be in this exchange where they're going up and trying to buy their own health care as opposed to you providing it? I mean, how are you planning for the future?
Yeah, I think having personal choice and flexibility for the employees is a very good thing. We do the same thing on their investments too, and we want to provide that type of flexibility. What we do try to do is benchmark ourselves against our other consultancies. We're a member of certain societies, and we try to get the numbers as far as recommendations as to how much contribution is employed to the employee.
But you're not in a position where you would potentially need to lay people off.
We're not, fortunately, because we're really in good standing and we're well sought after, because these types of things people need every day to run their lives.
Especially to catch Similac. No, I actually think that's the most genius of it all. I remember those 3 o'clock feedings trying to get that stupid plastic cap off the Similac.
And digging through the powder to get your scoop.
Terrible, with baby in one hand.
Right. See, again, designs to make people's lives better.
The ultimate multitasker, Tracy Burns, and Peter Clarke. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Peter.
Good stuff. You've covered it. You've run the gamut.